comparable basketball star, LeBron James, hit the 40,000 point mark. That's never been done. I mean, every time he scores a basket, he sets a record because he's extending his own record. But 40,000 is just an amazing milestone, and it's an amazing achievement for one of the most enduring athletes ever. So anyway, to catch up with that and other hoop topics, Josh Arbuthnot with the University of Calgary as their announcer joins us now. Josh, welcome to the program. LeBron hits 40,000 points. Again, it's extending his own record, but it's just such an eye-opening total. Are there any other comparables in any other sport? A plateau, is it 1,000 goals? Would that be the parallel in the NHL? Or how do you sort of put that in perspective?
Yeah, first off, as always, thanks for having me on, Mark. Always a pleasure. It's really a tough one. I mean, maybe we just saw it with Caitlin Clark just passing Pete Maravich. Maybe that's the one that we could have. We just saw that over the weekend as well. And getting to 40K, it's pretty crazy. I mean, there's people that didn't think LeBron would even pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The 100-goal mark, that might be the next closest one that we think that we might never see that maybe happens one day.
Yeah, maybe so, something like that. Are there any, we talk about the comparables. Here's the thing about LeBron James, too, scoring those points. He's not just hanging around he's still an elite player. He's probably all NBA first or second team this year. He's at the age of 39 with all the miles on him. He's still playing at an incredibly high level.
Yeah, he's still playing at a great level, and so is his counterpart, and Anthony Davis. It's too bad the rest of the Lakers aren't helping them out, but he's still playing at a high level. And, at his age too, he's probably the top free agent this summer, which is, unparalleled for someone his age to still be at the top of his game and be considered the top free agent.
Yeah, no question. And of course, that'll depend on where his son goes. I'm sure if he's going to, declare for the NBA draft and get drafted, that's probably where LeBron goes. But that's a separate topic for the summer. Well, because it was so bitter, I spent a lot of time inside watching a lot of things and flicked over to watch one of the marquee games on the weekend, the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors. And you would have thought this is, two pretty heavyweight teams. They just had the championship a couple of years ago. But it was a disaster. I mean, it was one of Boston's biggest wins, and we were talking about all-time records for Boston. They won by 52. That's something that's incredible because they're such a historic franchise. But right now, it really looks like they're on a rampage, and it looks like they're separating themselves from the rest of the league. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, that's the way I see it. And I think the most interesting thing about that game, too, is that they did it without Kristaps Porzingis. So he wasn't even in that game. You got Tatum that had 27. Jaylen Brown that had 29, and just overall right now, they're just really on a tear. I mean, the night before that, a nice big win against the Mavs, and then against 76ers. Obviously, they're a beat right now, but you kind of look where the Eastern Conference is right now, and you look at teams like Milwaukee, Cleveland. The Knicks are the only team, I think, when you look at the East right now, if we get to those Eastern Finals, that would have a chance with just how the Knicks are designed, with how gritty they are and how they can shoot the three and get out in transition. But other than that, right now, the Celtics don't just seem to be the favorite in the Eastern Conference. They seem to be the favorite in the entire NBA.
Yeah, pretty hard to argue. They just seem to be on such a tear right now. And while I mentioned Golden State and Toronto, Golden State was in Toronto on the weekend. That was a good game, not Sunday for Golden State. Raptors losing Barnes, although they signed the Canadian product, Kelly Olynyk, to an extension 2 years here. They lose Barnes. It just seems their season is kind of spiraling out of control. I mean, they had to fight like crazy last night just to beat Charlotte. There's just something there. It's just not a great situation. They've traded away pretty much everybody. I don't know if you call it a rebuild or they're just not good enough. How do you see them?
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if you can call it a rebuild. The trade deadline for them was very odd, right? You thought, guys like Gary Trent would be someone out. Obviously, they traded OG and Pascal before then, but they kept people and they brought people in like Olynyk. So they're kind of like in this middle ground where they're not so bad that they can plateau, but they're not good enough to potentially be a play-in team. And, they got games coming up here against the Pels, the Suns, the Nuggets, so good teams, the back-to-back in the middle of the month against the Magic, who is a hungry team, jumping out with Paolo Banchero and trying to make the play-in. So it's a really weird spot where the Raptors are right now, and then Scottie getting hurt doesn't help matters.
No, the word I got today is that he has a injury that will keep him out for the rest of the season. Of course, the regular season has about 6 weeks remaining or thereabouts. But yeah, you're right. Just something's going on there. You look at the scoring list, and obviously Shea Gilgeous-Alexander from Hamilton is just having an amazing season. I know he's right up there with guys like the Joker in Denver and Doncic in Dallas and some others. But the way I look at it, the fact his team is in first place in the West, right there fighting for the top spot, could Hamilton Shea Gilgeous-Alexander actually be the MVP?
Well, he was my preseason pick for MVP. You looked at everything he did to help Canada secure their first Olympic bid since Steve Nash back in the early 2000s, and he's just taken it to another level. We always see guys that go in these international competitions and take their game to the next level, and SGA, man, has he ever done that this year? And I would say right now, yeah, he is the MVP to me. And you look around that team, there's some talented players, but a guy like Jalen Williams, who maybe their second best player, you could argue it's him or Chet, but he's out right now with a knee injury. Chet's still playing great, but he's came down a little bit. Maybe now he might lose Rookie of the Year to Wemby, who's going off and having a great season. But SGA right now, from everything I'm seeing, and you're at the top of that Western Conference. We just talked about the East and how the Celtics are dominating there. You look at the West, top 1 to 10 mark. It is tough, just because you're a playing team. You got teams like the Lakers that are going to really push, and Golden State, they're going to push teams that are the top of that Western Conference for a playoff spot. So SGA leading this Thunder team absolutely deserves to be MVP.
Yeah, I would say he's going to be right there in Oklahoma City, a team that, accumulated draft picks and have done some good drafting, and now they're right there. They're on top. They're ahead of everybody in the West, and, they're probably a team that came kind of out of nowhere if you're not really following NBA on a day-to-day basis. Well, some interesting trends going on there. As I say, the regular season has roughly 6 weeks to go, so we'll see how things shake out in the interim there, and then on to the playoffs. Take a peek at the local scene here. There is a team, lots of high school basketball coming up, so we can't forget that. Local scene, though, the UFC women's team goes to Edmonton as a wild card team for the national tournament. Not ideal, but they are there. How do you assess them?
Well, it was an interesting journey for them to get here. They lost in the first round of the Canada West playoffs to their rivals, the Pandas. They lost to in the Canada West finals last year. But, you play the regular season for a reason, Mark. Their RPI was at the right level for them to get in, and now they get a chance to show what they can be, get in to watch this team. This is one of the best teams, not just in Canada West, but in U Sport. They didn't have Pollyanna Story. Fingers crossed for them that she'll be able to play for them this week. You look to the bench scoring, only 3 bench points for the women Dinos that game. That's not Dino basketball. They're going against Sask, Lisa Tomaitis. She may be the greatest women's basketball coach in the history of Canada basketball. It's going to be a tough matchup. They only lost one time to their rivals in Regina, but Coach Damian Jennings loves this matchup, and he's going to give it everything he can.
Okay, well, we'll see. They're still alive. Unfortunately, the men, though, of Dan Van Horn have been eliminated. Maybe take us through how things went for them coming down the stretch into the postseason.
Yeah, just a tough break. They held the lead, and then at the last second, they ran into Cinderella and UNBC. And, they taught them that one. But it's a great young team. There's no true senior on that team. You guys like Nate Petrone and Noah Warden and Javier Ramos-Esquero, they're all returning. You'll get Aiden Smith, who was out all season. He's a sharpshooter, a legacy Dino player. His dad used to play for the Dinos. So they'll be back next year, and they'll be revving to go and try to take on Canada West and U Sport. Okay,
I know you're also involved in the ACAC championships. What took place there?
Yeah, it was a wild time up in Fort Mac at Keano, and the dynasty of the State Trojans finally fell. Keano got the monkey off their back. They had not been able to beat the State Trojans team. State goes down. 6 ACAC championships in a row for the State Trojans, and they were the defending national champions. They don't come away with anything in this. They lose the bronze to Lakeland. Keano goes on and wins the gold medal game, and now they'll head on to nationals next week. So congratulations to Keano, and for the State Trojans, time to reset and reload.
No apologies needed after all those championships in a row, though.
No, that's a great run there to win 6 ACAC championships in a row. That's a heck of a run.
Yeah, very much so. So that's tremendous. And, of course, their seasons are done. And, of course, in about 10 days' time, actually 2 weeks' time, we're going to have Selection Sunday in the NCAA tournament. So that'll be something to talk about coming up there. So, well, it's been interesting. As I say, there's a lot on the weekend to watch because it wasn't much fun to go outside. That much I can tell you. Didn't want to venture outside. A lot of different things were going on. So, well, that's good. Wrap up on things, Josh. We appreciate it. And, we'll watch these tournaments as they go on. We'll touch base again, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Cheers, Mark.